One detail of the NCIS, Tony and Ziva panel at San Diego Comic-Con revealed how the NCIS spin-off might underestimate one key characteristic of the couple's story. Paramount Plus' Tony and Ziva will see Michael Weatherly and Cote de Pablo share the screen again as Tony D'Inozzo and Ziva David after 12 years since they were last seen together in NCIS. The road to get the titular characters to where Tony and Ziva finds them was full of obstacles, plot twists and fake deaths, with NCIS referencing Paris and their family life, never showing it. The latest NCIS spin-off finally has the chance to do so, but it cannot forget what helped Tony and Ziva reach Paris in the first place. NCIS, Tony and Ziva's history recap doesn't feature any character from the flagship. The beginning of NCIS, Tony and Ziva places all the focus only on the two of them. Michael Weatherly and Cote de Pablo in NCIS, Tony and Ziva. The Tony and Ziva panel at San Diego Comic-Con, which Screen Rant's Rachel Forch attended, revealed plenty of exciting details about the upcoming NCIS spin-off, addressing the differences with the original series, while also raising the hype for one of the most anticipated reunions in the NCIS universe. However, one clip also raised some concerns because of who it didn't feature. Indeed, the video shown at the Tony and Ziva panel recapping the history between the titular characters only featured Tony and Ziva, not showing any other NCIS character, without whom their story would have been much different. The spotlight on Tony and Ziva is understandable, given that the series focuses on them, but it's also disrespectful towards the flagship's characters. This is especially true with the video being the start of Tony and Ziva's premiere episode, setting the tone for the rest of the spin-off. No appearance of the NCIS characters who had been like a family for the decade and more Tony and Ziva spent at the Navy Yard downplays the role they had in Tony and Ziva's story. Gibbs and the rest of the MCRT are instrumental in Tony and Ziva's story. Tony and Ziva would have never gotten to where they are without the MCRT team. Ziva David and Leroy Jethro Gibbs in NCIS, a custom image by Milika Georgievic. Tony and Ziva's connection began and developed at work after Ziva's arrival as Mossad's liaison within NCIS in Season 3. The banter that characterized their relationship from the very beginning wouldn't have been possible if the two hadn't connected as members of the Major Crimes Response Team, with their professional relationship paving the way for something deeper several seasons later. The way NCIS showed Gibbs and the MCRT supporting Tony and Ziva was unparalleled. After Tony's fight with Rivkin ended in the latter's death and brought Vance, Gibbs, Tony and Ziva to Israel, kickstarting the end of Ziva's position within the MCRT and bringing to her capture in Somalia, Vance and Gibbs willingly sent McGee and Tony to save Ziva. The intense loyalty the MCRT had for one another also extended to a steadfast belief in their innocence if that was in question, and to support from afar when one of them was missing. This proved crucial in NCIS Season 11, Episode 2 when Tony could stay weeks in Israel to look for Ziva with Gibbs and the team's support. Even Tony and Ziva's separate exits, which led them to their story in Tony and Ziva, wouldn't have been possible without their family at the MCRT. Weatherly's NCIS exit as Tony focused entirely on Ziva's presumed death and learning about Taylai, which prompted him to leave his job to take care of his and Ziva's daughter, something Gibbs fully supported. Similarly, Ziva would still be on the run from Sahar had Gibbs and the MCRT not intervened in NCIS Season 17. Her return revealed the truth about why and how Ziva had everyone believe she was dead, even letting NCIS explore the father-daughter-like bond Gibbs and Ziva shared. Thanks to the MCRT's help with Sahar, Ziva could return to Taylide. Ziva's brief return proved the MCRT members didn't need to know her to help her, like Torres and Bishop. The MCRT's help was thus instrumental in getting Tony and Ziva where they are in Tony and Ziva, both practically and emotionally. Their friendship and assistance made Tony and Ziva who they are, making their absence in Tony and Ziva disrespectful. NCIS, Tony and Ziva needs to acknowledge the role MCRT played in their narrative. The NCIS spin-off needs to do more than solely mention the flagship characters. With their last appearances in NCIS heavily focusing on the future awaiting them, Tony and Ziva has the perfect chance to accurately tell not only how the titular characters acclimatize to their life in Paris, but also if and how they keep in contact with their old team at the Navy Yard. Doing so can acknowledge the role MCRT played. The calling out of NCIS characters in Tony and Ziva being mentioned at San Diego Comic-Con suggests the key NCIS characters' absence in the recap is only temporary, with the spin-off wanting to acknowledge the duo's history and who played a hand in getting them there. However, Tony and Ziva should do more than just offhandedly mention their MCRT friends.